All right, my friends, today we are going to rank every single Zeta ability in this game. Wow. A feat that is a little bit daunting. Wow. And to handle the task, I have brought on my real-life brother once again, Newman UAI, who is actually now known as the Senate.
I am the Senate. If you don't believe me, it's treason.
All right, so here's the way that we did this. We wanted to take an average of both of our opinions, and we didn't want it to just be ordering a list of 98 Zetas because that is super daunting. So instead what we did is we took 4 areas of the game: raids, territory battles, territory wars, and arena, and then we would assign point values to each Zeta ability for how effective we felt they were in each game mode, 0 through 10. And then I took my opinions, his opinions, we averaged them all together, sorted our list, and boom, there is our rankings. To start it, we're going to talk through numbers 98 all the way through 51. We're going to knock out half the list. We're not going to discuss every single Zeta in here to bore you to tears. But look at this. I'm showing them on the screen right now. Numbers 98, 97, and 96 are all Han or Chewie, some variation of them.
Those poor guys.
Yeah, I just...
Fan favorites, but...
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't found any use for these things, so... They're right in the bottom, and I actually noticed, I think it was Veteran Chewbacca on SWGOH.gg. There were only like 9 people registered on SWGOH.gg that even had that Zeta ability. So if you are one of those 9, stand up loud and proud down in the comments and let us know how you accidentally Zeta'd your Chewbacca.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories, and I myself have one of another tune that's number 93 right there. Stormtrooper. I accidentally Zeta'd my Stormtrooper, so not much better, you know, marginally better than Clone Wars Chewie, I guess, but that accidental Zeta, I'm happy that's not a thing anymore. That sucked.
I feel like accidental Zeta should be the subject of a music video, like a really sad one.
Whoops, I Zeta'd my Han or something.
Zeta Chirpa, just, you know, the lament. Rose Tico was another one we had talked about before, and I thought Rose Tico should be lower on this list, but you disagree.
Yeah, you know, Rose is a tune that not many people have at 7 stars. I think she's not really a high priority for a lot of people, but when you look at what the Zeta actually brings to the table, she gets, every time that a resistance ally hits a critical hit, she gains 10% turn meter. And so if you think about running her, like, let's say in the place of Resistance Trooper in a Phase 1 team for the Sith Raid,
right?
She's going to be getting lots of turn meter, you know. She's going to be going a lot because there's a lot of critical hits, especially when you get Illuminated Destiny and there's crit chance up, crit damage up and everything. She's going to be getting a lot of turns, effectively just like Resistance Trooper would. Maybe not as much, but, you know, she's going to be getting a lot of turn meter on top of the turn meter you already get from Jedi Rey. So I think that it'd be interesting. People aren't really using her. But right. I think that just in the details there, I think she's got a lot of potential.
Sadistic Glee was another one that stood out to me. Darth Sidious. Interesting Zeta ability, but it's kind of like an old school ability where when I see Sadistic Glee, I remember what this meant when the game first started, and that was one of the arena go-to abilities that was very frustrating to go against.
Sidious was he was crucial to kind of making that Zeta Maul team really annoying to go against, all of his turn meter gain and everything, and so that was really big. It was a tough ability to go against back in the day, but obviously now you're not finding Sidious anywhere useful.
Speaking of Maul, his Zeta ability as leader, Dancing Shadows, that Zeta ability is now sitting at 54, very low on the list. And yeah. I mean, really, relatively speaking, to what this, I mean, when Zetas first came out and were a thing, it's kind of close to when Maul's meta had a brief stint. This would have been probably a top 5 Zeta, and so it's interesting how far it has fallen.
Yeah, the game has just progressed since Zetas came out. The main areas of the game are no longer arena for a lot of the importance of Zeta abilities. It used to just be arena. At
least Darth Maul is still ranked above my favorite Zeta ability on my roster, Chief Chirpa.
You can't hide them anymore either after the update today. Everybody's gonna see. They go to your roster. There's gonna be that little X that for whatever reason is called a Zeta next to it with a little 1.
Yeah.
It's a little pretty addition they added, huh?
Definitely. All right, moving on through. We're gonna break down numbers 50 all the way up through 11. There's a lot to discuss with this group. Thrawn's legendary strategist was one that, at a glance, I feel like 47 feels too low for the legendary strategist. But the kicker with this is we really don't have as much raid viability here, which I think is what kind of tears him down. And then in arena, he seems to be pretty weak on defense. But he does seem to this is a really great Zeta ability. If we're just looking at territory battles, territory wars in a microcosm, then I think it would be a lot higher on the priority list. Would you agree?
Yeah. Thrawn, his raid viability it's not even so bad for phase 2 of the Sith raid.
Sure.
The problem is that you can either swap them, any list that tells you what teams to run. If you're running a troopers team with Thrawn, is going to tell you to run either him or Veers, but most people tend to have more success with Veers lead, and that's not even a Zeta.
How about Vader's inspiring through fear? This is a great raid Zeta ability, but we're only here. The kicker is this Zeta ability enables you to solo heroic tank completely. And I actually gave the Zeta to my Vader recently for that purpose exclusively. However, move aside heroic tank. Who cares about heroic tank anymore? It's all about heroic Sith raid. I don't know if the Zeta ability has as much use in that raid because you can't get a single dot to stick anywhere in that raid. And so as a result, the area that this Zeta ability shines the most is diminished.
That's essentially like Zal, the Zeta Maul. It's just with Arena where it shined there, and now it's just kind of not as useful across the board. And Zeta's the same thing, it got kind of the exposure with Sir George's. Did you say Gorgeous? I say Georgeous because it says George, right?
I don't
know, but he made a
I think
video
it's Sir
anyways.
Gorgeous.
I say Georgeous. I don't know.
He likes to look at himself in the mirror and call himself gorgeous. I don't know, and then post amazing raid videos.
Either way, he made that video, of Zeta, and everybody was like, "Oh, hold up, maybe this ability is still viable." You know, it's you can solo the entire. It
really
tank
did
raid, but
kind
at the end
of
the day, people don't want to spend an hour going through the tank raid to solo it when you can beat it, with hitting auto with a Titans team essentially. So
absolutely, yeah. That's another catch of that.
Just too much
Zeta
time.
Is
too much time. It's not. Nobody wants to do that.
I from a practical standpoint don't feel like spending that much time on a raid. What I want to do is find a way that I can hit
consistently.
Auto. So Sabine's Demolish is one that I'm pretty high on. I just wish there were more uses for it because the Phoenix Squad, they've got some great use in raids. In the Heroic Sith raid, they found a little niche in there. They have good use in territory wars as well, but I feel like they're starting to become more some defensive teams are going to be higher priority than the Phoenix Squad, but a lot of guilds are still using Phoenix Squad. And this ability on offense is very fun. I love not having the retribution. I love seeing all of those exposes go up. It's a very, very fun Zeta ability to use. But unfortunately, there's just not a ton of Phoenix viability in the arena. I think that's kind of what drags us down on the list. Otherwise, I think it does pretty well at number 30.
Yeah. Sabine Zeta is really solid for people that are running Phoenix teams. We have a Firefox in our guild. He runs a full Zeta out Gear 12, just beautiful Phoenix team in Phase 2. And if I remember right, he hit over 5 million.
Vandor Chewy is making it up to 28 on the list already. That kind of surprises me. But when you look at the Zeta ability, it's really valuable. I think right now it's just, we're probably rating this when you and me ran this. It's based off of what the ability does, but it's still unproven in a lot of areas of the game. So I think we might have overrated this, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough to say where it kind of compares, just because we haven't used it enough yet. But that's 60%, 60% health revival, especially if you're running that. Let's say you run like a Bosk lead, and then they're going to be if they're a scoundrel, a bounty hunter, then maybe not with Bosk, I guess. Maybe with Boba Fett or something. You know, I think there's a place for that Zeta. It looks like it's really solid.
Right.
It's just kind of unproven yet.
Interesting. Kylo Ren's Outrage, number 22. Still, that's, I mean, out of 98 Zetas, that's pretty high on the list. But this is a Zeta ability that when Zetas first hit was probably number 1 on the list. In fact, in one of my first videos ever, I ranked it at number 1. What happened?
You know, I don't know. I just think that maybe Kylo Ren has just not, when Crew came in, I think the focus kind of shifted from Kylo as being like the main damage dealer to just being kind of a support character. He's not as important. His Zeta for his faction is not nearly as important as it used to be. Right. And he's also not necessary. You know, people, especially when they patch when they fix the heroic tanks, so his Zeta ability wasn't as good. You used to be able to solo the entire thing going and, you know, smack your second special, you know, over and over and over, and then retreat and then repeat, do it again. I don't think you can do that anymore.
Now, Darth Sion's Lord of Pain. This is one of my recent Zeta abilities. I don't regret it because of where I use him in the arena. It's fantastic for the arena, and it's great on defense. You have to plan around the Zeta ability. It forces the team indirectly to attack your Sion. And so the answer to that, for most people, is going to be Fracture. Whenever you have to plan around an ability that much, I think it's very effective. But it's just an arena Zeta. If this was an arena list, this would be in the top 5, I think. Maybe top 6, 7, somewhere around there. But in the other areas of the game, it has a harder time being effective in raids. I mean, especially in the Sith raid, tenacity is so ridiculously high on those bosses. Hard to get much, if at all, to stick. In territory battles and territory wars, we're going to have some use. But arena is really where this thing shines.
Yeah, his Zeta makes him viable at 3 stars in arena, which is where I'm running him right now. 3 stars, Gear 11. It's,
yep.
I didn't think that would happen.
I told you to run
Gear 12
him.
got introduced.
I told you to do it.
Yeah, you did. I said, I don't know. I remember.
You had
everybody
your
will remember watching our video. You know, of our top. What was it? The top 15 where we went head to head, and my Scion was. I think he had like 4,000 arena power. You know, galactic power at that point.
You repented.
And now he's Gear 11 at 15,000 with the Zeta and everything, and I don't regret it. He's really fun to use.
Moving on to the top 10. These are the top 10 best Zeta abilities in the game, according to 2 random dudes on the internet. All right, number 10, we've got Treya's Compassion as Weakness. Number 9, R2-D2's Combat Analysis. Number 8, Treya's Lord of Betrayal. Number 7, Wampa's Cornered Beast. Number 6, Palpatine's Emperor of the Galactic Empire. That's his leadership ability. Number 5, Commander Luke Skywalker. It binds all things. 4 is Han Solo Shoot First. Number 3 is BB-8's Roll with the Punches. Number 2 is Rey Jedi Training's Inspirational Presence. And then lastly, the king of them all is Number Crunch, R2-D2's unique ability. What do you think about this top 10 list? Do you think it's right?
You know, I think I'm not sure about a few of them. Definitely I think the top 5, maybe 6 are exactly how I would
they feel
order
pretty
them
good to me.
In terms of
yeah, I would agree
Zetas,
with it.
everyone that you should have all of those Zetas.
Yes.
Wampa is one that I don't have Wampa unlocked or even close to unlocked, and so and not
Here's
really
the thing.
anybody's running him in my arena, so I don't really know.
Let
if
me
that
talk
one's as
about
good as
Wampa
it
and make a
maybe.
case for him. Because I have a
go for
Gear
it.
12 maxed out Wampa with this Zeta ability. And this Zeta ability really makes him hum because it's going to increase that counter chance. And what makes Wampa so deadly is his counter chance because his basic is so devastating. And you're going to take his basic every time you hit him. And he's got, with that protection up that he gains so quickly in every encounter, it's not very logical to attack him early because you're hitting protection up. You know, you don't want to hit protection up, and you're going to take the hits back. And so it's a very good Zeta ability, and I think, in my opinion, deserving of top 10. Maybe not quite 7. I feel like Treya's Lord of Betrayal is better than this Zeta ability. I mean, obviously she's a better character, but if we're just looking at the ability and what it does, I might flip those. I might say, let's put Trey at 7 and Wampa 8. But in my opinion, Cornered Beast is definitely one that deserves to be top 10.
Yeah, I think I mean, given that, it makes sense. You know, Wampa he's devastating, especially because he's got so much anti-rebel synergy that makes him really good as kind of a one-man show in territory battles, especially if you're lacking for a few other people. I've heard he can essentially do, you know, a lot of phases by himself even. So I think that's plus, you know, the Wampanator team. He's also made an appearance in Phase 2 of the Sith Raid even. So I think he's got a lot of viability, and people are kind of starting to crack the ice. You know, break the ice on his.
I remember an arena battle before I had the Wampa, where I had this team down to just the Wampa. I had 4 characters left. One of them was almost dead, and so I attacked the Wampa. They got killed. I had 3 characters left. I had no way to stun or fracture the Wampa, and as a result, the Wampa single-handedly took out the rest of my team just because of the counter chance. That's what that Zeta ability can do. It's crazy.
Yeah, that sucks. You know, I think that the different modes of the game are starting to have a higher impact than even Arena, which is interesting. You know, a lot of Zetas have become necessary to make certain things happen in other game modes. And before, if you look on Reddit or any guides of what you're supposed to do, they definitely say, you know, Arena is the priority. But now I think it's not necessarily the #1 priority even. Especially because of the rewards you get from the Sith Raid, from Heroic Sith Raid. That might even be more important down the line for the gear of your tunes than, you know, the daily income of crystals. Maybe not. I mean, I think Arena is still the most important, but I think that the Sith Raid has shown up. All of these Zetas that are in the top, especially the top 5, 4 even, you know, more specifically, are going to be vital to making the Sith Raid happen for you.
It's hard to beat getting a fully crafted piece of gear that's going to cost you 2,800 crystals.
You're not getting crystals directly, but you're not having to put out a bunch of crystals for things you would have otherwise.
So some pieces of gear are going to cost you 2,500 crystals, like a Mark V stun gun. That's 5 days worth of Arena #1, and so I think I would agree with you that there's a lot more reason to kill the Sith Raid and do very well at it. I still think Arena is probably more important. You've got that guaranteed crystals. That is really good. You have more in your control, less RNG. You know what you're getting. But some of those rewards that people have been getting from Sith Raid, it's definitely raising on the priority list. So I think that's a good takeaway.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is that some of these tunes, I think it might change up next month when we have all this different stuff for ships. You know, who knows what the ships are going to do, because the Zetas add speed to your ships. And I mean, who knows what I think this is going to be a lot different. You know, down the line when we have more changes to fleets. Yeah. Especially because the fleet payout gives crystals now too. I've seen a lot of kind of convincing arguments about shifting focus to fleet because of there hasn't been, you know, an investment in a ship is a long-term investment, and you're going to get a lot out of it, and there's not really going to be a change in the meta, but now there is going to be one. So I guess we'll find out. You know, maybe different tunes like Thrawn are going to make their way up the list even just because of their capital ship and whatnot. So I guess we'll see what happens with ships. I think that might shake things up.
Right on. All right, thanks for joining me for the video, the Senate. It was an honor to have the Senate with us today. Let us know what you think about the list down in the comments below. And as always, my brothers, don't forget.
My dead body. Sorry about the mess.